I think you see that clinical trials get more and more complex, and there's a big need for reduced complexity, so to having less vendor and less partners, because otherwise it just gets too complex for.
So over the past year, I would say that clients are really focusing on looking for reliable outsourcing strategies to support their clinical trial. This is driven by factors such as inflation and trying to get the best value for money from a service.
I think at a really simplistic level, it's about still looking to actually fix for the burden that's placed on patients and sites at the moment. There's a huge drive towards looking at quality, so it's looking at the veracity of data and how we can actually drive and push that through. And then I also think there's a massive drive to be able to look at how we can bring more data innovation and how we can leverage this to create much more value from clinical research.
Since the CTAs became mandatory in Europe, we noticed that the most frequent question that we received from the sponsors was whether they should still conduct their clinical studies within Europe, or perhaps they could focus to other regions that are not so complex. And this is a valid concern because all of the new beginnings are hard. All of the new systems are complex.
So there's one big obvious trend that everyone's talking about, and that's artificial intelligence. And how can we use that tool to better enable not only us, but our sponsors, our sites, and our patients to have a better experience throughout the clinical trials. So I think AI is the biggest trend, but there are a lot of other trends that we're seeing as well. Things like further collaboration and standardization with different solutions across the industry. So how can all of these different elements work together to provide the best value and the best experience for everyone included?
Yeah, I think the trend is, so I've been in the research world for 15 years and I've definitely seen the trend move across from tokenistic activities into more embedded, but it still feels like there's a trend of nice to have, not need to have. And sometimes the concepts behind the nice to have aren't presenting the right data to help people realize it's a need to have part of their projects and their collaborations.
I think one of the trends certainly is that the funding situation is getting a bit tighter. So I think we're forced to perform even better.
How we can use artificial intelligence in the design of decentralized clinical trials and operations. It was really interesting actually. You know, I got a really good audience, really engaged, some really interesting questions. During my session, I covered, the basic models of AI, which is the language model and the generative AI.
One of the trends I'm seeing quite regularly is the need to centralize data. We've got a lot of siloed data still historically in the clinical trial space, and I think the need to bring that together and be able to analyze and sort of shift to be able to use that data in a productive manner is a trend that is constant across the industry at the moment.
Everyone speak about the AI, So the session is running about the challenges and the things that we should do to be on board on AI and the future of the AI.
Yeah, it was very interesting to note that several teams here are presenting the importance of having data, access data, good data, large data, and more specifically, how it can bring a solution for better operational planning.
I think the hot topics are AI, digitalization, and being here over the last 2 days is really, given me even more information, and it's very interesting to hear what other people are doing, what other companies are doing. But yeah, they're the main trends these last couple of days.
Well, of course, AI is a no-brainer, right? Everybody talks about AI, but for me, it's still a lot of window dressing and not a lot of concrete elements to it. And another thing that's really a takeaway is sponsor oversight and the interaction between CRO and sponsor.